None of this started until you arrived. I think you brought them here. I think you're evil. Evil! Ow. God. I hope she didn't slap Tippi that hard. That shit hurts. I'm John Renton with the retro view of The Birds. Hold on to something and watch. Yet when I say that to women, I'm asked to leave the theater. Nevertheless, let me know your thoughts on this movie in the comments, please. Nearly 60 years have passed since this very, very iconic Alfred Hitchcock flick came out, and my fucking goodness, it still holds up. The special effects are phenomenal even to this day. Yes, obviously the blue screen stuff and da-da-da, you can notice all the little flaws and nooks and crannies and everything, and all the little weird stuff, but considering the time period, these special effects were fucking great. And also, Tippi Hedren. Jesus fucking Christ, she was a beauty back then, wasn't she? So was Suzanne Pleshette, because she played the teacher Annie, and Annie at one point died, and we had to ask Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh wait, no, you passed away. Alfred Hitchcock, if you don't know what movies he's done, you've been living under a rock. Or under a Hitchcock. Okay, let's just stop with the bad jokes here. This is not, by the way, the only Alfred Hitchcock movie that I own. I had this collection, which has Psycho, that I've recently retro-viewed, well, in the last year. And then we've got, of course, Rear Window, North by Northwest, and we have Vertigo, where he loved a dead woman. Jimmy Stewart played a lot of fucked up roles, in all honesty. He was the all-American actor, the all-American boy, waving around his Quebec flag. If anybody gets that, you are a longtime wrestling fan. He played some weird roles. Anyway, other Hitchcock movies. Strangers on a Train. I need to retro-view this at some point. As well as Rebecca. Not Jessica. And also Spellbound. With Gregory Peck in it. So yeah, about this movie. Tippi Hedren. Rod Taylor that is. Not Rob Taylor. Rob Taylor was his discount brother. This is Rod Taylor, who had quite a career. He really did have quite a career. It's sad, though, that after, like, the 60s into the 70s, he never quite achieved the status that everybody felt he should have. He was a tremendous fucking actor, but just could never quite break through that ass ceiling. I think that's how that saying goes. But nevertheless, Jessica Tandy was also in this as the mother Lydia. Jessica Tandy was in her mid-50s at this point and looked about 80. That's mean. That's really mean. Suzanne Pleshette, as I mentioned before, was a fucking beauty even back then. And it's funny because I did recently retro-view Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978 that have Veronica Cartwright in it, and she was Kathy. She was a little sister. And you could definitely tell really looked about the same some 15 years later. I mean, honestly, you could fucking tell it was her. But she was good in this. And then you had Estelle Griffiths, and you had various other people. People that I had to write down, because honestly, this is a lot of fucking names to remember. Charles McGraw, Ruth McDevitt, Lonnie Chapman. And then we have, of course, Joe Mantell. Doodles Weaver as Eraserhead. Longtime MST3K fans will fucking love that. And Malcolm Atterbury. So, let's talk about the plot. Birds have had enough of our shit and they attack. Intermittently. Eventually. That's about it. There's really not much to the plot. But that being said, a lot of really great scenes, continue to unfold. Rod Taylor falls for Tippi Hedren. Can you fucking blame him? I couldn't. Just don't read up about Alfred Hitchcock and how he dealt with his female leads. Alfred Hitchcock is one of the most iconic directors of all fucking time. Good God, to say that man had fucking demons would be like to say I have bad puns swimming in my fucking head. Doris Day even had to leave acting for a bit after doing The Black Lace. And also how he dealt with the other women. Seriously, it's like, it's insane. It's really fucking insane. Let's talk about the positives. Hitchcock, one of the best goddamn directors. Okay, sure, the stuff from the late 60s, the late 60s, early 70s, his last few films weren't up to snuff. The man had been doing fucking films since the 30s. Maybe even since the 20s, in all honesty. He did the silent films, and he did the other stuff, 39 Steps. He did The Man Who Knew Too Much. He did The Man Who Knew Too Much 2, Electric Man Too Much Boogaloo. Actually, that's not what it's called, but that would have been hilarious. He did Rope, Vertigo, and all these other ones I talked about. So many great goddamn movies that are seen as some of the best of all time. Film noir, psychological horror, straight-up horror. Psycho is still one of his most, technologically, just profound achievements. Just from an acting, a camera work standpoint, the shower scene, all that great shit. And this deals with birds attacking. And that's pretty much it again. So Mitch sees Melanie in a bird shop, assumes that she is an employee, and talks to her about birds. But then it turns out, aha, it's a get back for a prank where she had done something and somehow a plank of something had gone through a window. And he saw her in court, but never actually tried her. Or did he? He was a lawyer. Maybe he did, and he's just fooling her. He's trying to get her in bed. Again, a Tippi Hedren look back then. I can't fucking blame him if that was the case. And then, basically, he was looking for some lovebirds for his little sister, Veronica Cartwright, a.k.a. Kathy. And Melanie, Tippi Hedren's character, says, hey, bird shop owner, I actually forget what her fucking name was. Says, hey, why don't you order these lovebirds and I'll take them over there. And she was going to get other birds for herself, but we never actually got that plot wrapped up. She decides, hey, I'm going to go over to the island here, Bodega Bay, where Mitch and his family live. By his family, I mean his mother, who lost her husband, a.k.a. Mitch's father. And also there's quite a bit of an age difference, which I never quite understood. How old was Jessica Tandy when she had Kathy? About 65 years old. But nevertheless, Melanie decides she's going to surprise him. She drives around the island. This is back, of course, when gas cost a fucking nickel, and you would get 2 cents back. Drove around, met Annie, Suzanne Pleshette's character, talks to her a bit, and says, well, you know this house, you know these people. Oh, yes, I know them very well. Are you a friend of theirs? Met them at a shop. I want to surprise them, do this stuff. Okay. So then she talks to the one post office in the little seaside town area. It's really funny that this takes place, around California, and you have this seaside town area that sort of reminds me of Mukilteo Bay, and if anybody is from Washington State, you will die laughing. It's like going back in fucking time warp. It's like back to the 1940s with all the old buildings and everything, and the fact that those buildings are even standing after all that, fucking assault and all the seaside air. Nevertheless, she finds a way to take a boat over there because she really wants to surprise him. Takes a boat over, puts the lovebirds in the house. This is back when you could just break into anybody's house as long as you were white and blonde and you were perfectly okay. Leaves the birds, and then suddenly, Mitch sees him. What the hell's going on? And she's hunkering down in a boat that is pretty far away, but still, she's the only boat out there, so it's not like he couldn't see her. And then he gets binoculars that seriously could see across the fucking world. It's insane. These binoculars are incredible. Sees her and says, aha, I'm going to go get her, even though she's on the water. I know where she's going because there's only apparently one dock. And he does that, races around, and as she's getting back to port, a seagull says, aha, bitch, and then attacks her. Because why the fuck not? The seagulls are just, I still find it funny in this movie how the birds almost sound like cats. Kind of sound like my Persian when she was trying to scratch something. It's a great cat. Persians are great cats. They're just really, really inbred and stupid. But anyway, nevertheless, she gets dive bombed. The one thing I don't like about these older movies is the blood that's way too fucking red. It's like watching an Italian horror movie. Not quite that bad. It doesn't quite look like paint dripping down. But anyway, a romance blossoms between these two idiots, and then more stuff happens. She goes over to back to the island, and Jessica Tandy's like wondering what the hell's going on here. Mitch, did you bring another woman home? Mitch, I told you to stop bringing the women home. And it turns out that she has feed that the chickens won't eat. Birds are acting weird. In a movie called The Birds, it's just weird. So, Kathy's very, very talkative, as a little sister would be. Mitch knows a lot of people in San Francisco. A man with the first name of Rod knowing a lot of people in San Francisco. I'm sure he does. So, Tippi Hedren, by the way, just absolutely gorgeous in this. Lots of birds just doing this. It's not like The Birds 2 lands, and yes, believe it or not, they did a sequel to this. Sequel. If you've ever seen it, I'm sorry. I'm really goddamn sorry because it was shit. But, so, This is back, of course, when everybody smoked, everything smoked, and I'm amazed that it didn't that the world wasn't actually on fire. So one thing I hate about these old movies is attractive women smoking. Smoking, to me, I don't care for it. That being said, you want to do your own thing, you do whatever the fuck you want. So, Annie, she talks, she has a room for rent, and Melanie rents it for a night. They talk a bit. Annie had a bit of a romance with Mitch, but it turns out that Lydia is a little bit too protective. Very protective. And that didn't end up working out, ultimately, even though she has an infatuation with Mitch. And he lets Suzanne Pleshette get away. Idiot. And then more stuff with Tippi and Rod, and they're on a beach set, very obvious beach set, but it looks cool. And then the birds decide Kathy doesn't deserve to have a nice birthday party, and says, "It's a birthday party, bitch." There's popping the balloons and everything. So they don't like anything except the actors being full of hot air. And then they chase, the birds chase them, they get in the house and everything, and that's it. No, that's not it, of course. They say birds don't just attack people. Apes attack people. Charlton, what are you doing in this movie? Get the hell out of here. And then Lydia goes over to visit one of the neighbors about, the chicken feed and stuff like that. And then he gets into his house. Somehow the other person there didn't know that something happened to them. And birds have broken in the window. And my God, the guy's eyes are pecked out. And they stood on that shot for quite a while. Pretty goddamn violent. Pretty cool stuff. She's, of course, freaked out. And she's traumatized. Reflects on the fact she lost her husband. All this stuff's going on. Mind you, it isn't until about halfway through the movie that we get any serious bird attack, because Hitchcock actually understands how to build tension, understands how to do some good shit. And then, of course, we get, more talking. Of course, we get a lot more talking, a lot more fucking talking. Lydia sort of grills Melanie on her intentions with Mitch. Says she doesn't want to be left alone, but understands that Mitch is his own person. And then apparently this is in the afternoon, still in the afternoon, despite the fact that Lydia was traumatized hours before. "Hey, Kathy's at school. Can you go get her?" "Yeah, sure, I'll go get her." "Oh, I gotta wait outside until they're done singing." The creepy children were singing and being creepier than the goddamn birds that were attacking. And then she's out there smoking, because again, it was the 60s, everything fucking smoked. And then a few birds get in the jungle gym. A few more birds. And Tippi is totally unaware of this. Unaware of the fact that, oh yeah, the birthday party got attacked by birds. Hey, let me not notice all these birds that are right behind me. God, people were stupid in this. Much as I love this movie, people were monumentally stupid. And then the students are going to do a fire drill. But then they get attacked by birds. Because of course they fucking do. Get her glasses. She can't see without her glasses. And then everybody saved except for one girl that got taken to Santa Rosa because she was seriously injured, and hospitals apparently are a no-no on Bodega Bay Island. And they're in the bar from earlier in the film, and they discuss all this stuff. Remember cigarette vending machines? If you are, 70, you might remember those. And it's the end of the world, says the Irish drunks. It's just there for no goddamn reason. And as one guy suggests, the good old NRA thing, get a gun and wipe them off the face of the earth. But there are 100 billion birds in the world. You can't do that. See, that's a little bit scary if there's that many goddamn birds in the world. Maybe we shouldn't piss off the birds. Maybe we should stop torching the planet. But they gotta escape now. Or eventually. Maybe. Immediately, if not sooner? Nah, eventually. So, this one guy that was gonna leave, and this one lady who had two massively ugly children. God damn, the bird should have pecked their eyes out. Bird should have pecked the mother's eyes out for birthing those heathens. But anyway, I don't loathe children, except I totally do. This guy's smoking while this one bird had dive bombed this gas station attendant over there. See, that's what I got to watch out for at work, is so I don't get dive bombed while helping people with gas. But this is, of course, back before gas pumps had automatic shutoffs. And the gas is just trickling down, and like a waterfall thing. And TLC went chasing it, and we saw how that ended up for Left Eye. But the gas gets right to where the guy is, and then he drops the match in a panic, and then boom, he blows up, which is hilarious, and then the gas station starts to blow up. So then they have to get the fire truck out there that's all of 2 hoses, and then the birds attack apparently because somebody just left their hose all dangling out there and spraying around. And man, I hate when they can do that in movies, and I do that and I'm kicked out of the town. So then Tippi gets in the fucking, the phone booth. You see, they had to do that. Remember phone booths? God, that was a weird time. And of course, Hans Mole, man, that great line from this one. I need the biggest seed bell you have. No, that's too big. And then the woman, the woman with the 2 ugly, heathen, satanic-looking kids said, "I think you're evil, evil!" And then slaps around. I'm not going to do the insane voice. And then they get back to the school, and he's dead. I mean, how long did she push the kids inside and saved them? Had to happen off camera because we need to show more birds attacking children for being children, stupid shits. So anyway, and Mitch says, Melanie says, "Take the body inside, Mitch." "Oh, Mitch, what are you doing with that body?" "Mitch, he's dead." "No." Mitch the defiler. And then we get news reports. This is pretty much in the last 20 minutes of the movie. Jessica Tandy's freaking out. And then the lovebirds, they're just there. The lovebirds in that cage that started this whole thing, apparently, are just there. Chirp, 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 chirp. And then there's echo chamber birds. They start attacking. Mitch unplugs a lamp and decides to strangle one of the birds or pull the shades down or strangle himself, David Carradine style. I'm not exactly sure. Then the birds decide we're going to peck down the doors. Door-to-door peckings. Haha, you will sample us humans. And then Tippi decides, hey, I'm going to go to the upstairs bedroom where I hear fluttering. Oh, here's a flashlight. Oh, there's this hole in the roof and there's about 50 birds, and they attack her. Then she makes herself a doorstop because she decides to be stupid and forget how doors work. They had to get her out. She's all cut up, and then she freaks out and tries to attack them. It's the same thing she did when she thought Alfred was trying to attack her. I'm sorry, God, read up on Alfred Hitchcock. It's hard to believe such an iconic director got away with that shit, except it's not. So they're going to escape, and they take Melanie's card, despite the fact that it was the smallest car. It also had a roof, and they couldn't take the station wagon that they had. They took hers. And they pile everybody in there. Kathy takes the lovebirds with them, and all these birds are around. Ha, ha. And they just watch. All these birds are watching. And oh my God, seagulls and crows working together. Blacks and whites working together. This was Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. I don't think that was quite it. And that's the end of the birds. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm Charles Ritlin. I'll see you soon.